Hey everybody, welcome back to part 2 of whatever I'm calling this series. I don't know what I am, but this is part 2. Let's continue on with David. Winning and losing. David hated losing, and he was a terrible winner. This became painfully obvious in our first group play of Magic the Gathering. David had been collecting for a long time, but only had a couple of decks he regularly used despite this. A silver deck and Circle of Protection deck. Both very annoying in their own ways. Silvers are beasts that share all their abilities with each other, so things can get really out of control really fast. Circle of Protections are exactly that. They block damage from a color source, and this gets incredibly frustrating. The first game there was 5 of us playing and 4 of us being friendly about it. David, on the other hand, was determined to win, and to show his card-playing superiority. Whenever it was his turn, he would loudly proclaim every single move he was doing. I tap 1 red mana and 1 black mana to cast Acidic Silver, going over my other 2 silvers to pay colorless mana and sacrifice permanent deal 2 damage to target creature or player. I pay 4 to give these 2 silver tokens +1/+1 until end of turn. I attack you with my 5 silver tokens, and there are 3, 4, 5, and there are 2, 5, 6, and I have trample first strike, all the while smiling like he was fucking Hannibal, crossing the Alps to lay waste to Italy. When he won, he would not shut the hell up about winning. Some boasting is okay, but David took this way too far. This continued for a week before I had had just enough of him. To be perfectly fair, he did make a couple of very strong decks. On the other hand, we would play 4 to 5 games a day, switching out decks, and he refused to change his tactics during that week before I went to fuck you mode. The next time the 5 of us played, I grabbed my asshole deck. Not literal. It's a blue-red control/burn deck. It's a deck that I set up that allowed me to say, no, you can't play that card, or any card, unless I say you can. Also, here's straight damage to you, until the person dies. I rarely use it because, like I said, it is an asshole deck. I focused only on David the entire game, and fucked with him to Mount Olympus and back. I'm talking a good 20 to 25 turns, which, in a group of 6, takes a good hour and a half. The vitriolic hate was a delicious sight to see by the end of that game. Every card I didn't like, I countered it. I returned it to his hand, or I made him discard it. My turn, have another lightning bolt, and a shock. Just 1 to 2 damage at a time. Sometimes I just passed and saved all my mana for potential instants that I could use against him. I swear he was practically shaking with rage by the end of it. I am so sorry for your vocal cords for the next bit, Moonhorse. Here's some highlights of his rage in that game. Oh, fuck you! Let me play a goddamn card! Oh, why the fuck are you blocking me? You aren't gonna assist anyone else! I fucking hate you! Block someone else! Stop attacking me! Each completed with spittle flying everywhere. When I finally finished him, he just let out a screech, not too far off from a ree, and he threw the closest thing next to him. Unfortunately for him, that was the remainder of his deck and graveyard and piles of cards. They flew fucking everywhere. It took him a good 20 minutes to find all of his cards again. D&D. David was also that guy in D&D. Constantly argued with the DM, same Gary Stu lone wolf badass warrior for every fucking character, tried to railroad the game to be the coolest and most awesome person in the realm that all the bitches totally have the hots for. And that's just like being attractive to women in the real world, am I right, guys? We mostly played around with him, and thankfully didn't have to do that for too long. The 3rd or 4th campaign we played, we decided to try out the Stormrack setting, since it was, well, just released. The whole world is basically Pirates of the Caribbean, but with fucked up fish people. Before fucked up fish people were in Pirates of the Caribbean, actually. There are 5 of us, not including the DM, and we decide to start off at level 5 so we can check out some of the new feats and talents in the setting. I made an Aventi Druid with lots of animal spells. Basically, I was playing as Aquaman. David made a Darfilian Warrior. Basically, big fuck-off killer whale persona. He gave it the usual, I left my clan because they were evil and my king daddy had grown mad. Now I travels the land to better myself story. Not even Stormrack is saved from Drizzt clones. We start playing, and about 5 minutes into it, all of our characters are meeting. David's character gets into a fight with the barkeep. So we try to defuse the situation, but David decides to roll for attack. A fight breaks out, and the town guard enter the fray, and now all of us are drug into a fight, and 4 of us decided to run for our ship. We half drag along David, but he realizes his character will die if he decided to take on everyone alone. A sea battle breaks out, and while we're all fighting with cutlasses and whatnot, David pulls out a huge blunderbuss. Basically an 80-pound elephant killer gun. He declares that he's going to fire it at the captain of the city guard. Well, the DM allows this and tells David to make an aim check and then roll for damage. He rolls a 1. Oh, this is going to be good. See, on a 1 roll in D&D, you gotta check the fumble chart to see how bad you just fucked up. It's a 1 in 20 chance of something really bad happening. 1 being just a slip and fall to mortal damage of your character. Yeah, guess what David rolled? Yeah, a 20, and another 20 to confirm. What happened in game was instead of aiming at the captain, a wave shook the boat as David fired. The bullet flies off and hits the metal bracing for the mast and rebounds back at him. Straight fucking headshot, his character falls down dead. Well, that doesn't kill me, David insisted. It's a headshot, DM says. It's just max damage of 3d8, so that's only 24. I have 46 health. The DM just stared at him for a second, dumbfounded. He looks below his DM screen and massages his temples with a fucking really look before looking into something in front of him. He scribbles a couple notes before looking back up with David with a bit of a sinister sneer. Okay, you're laying there, gaping bullet wound in the middle of your fucking forehead. Now, since the mast has already taken the cannon damage, your bullet caused a huge crack in it, and the wind picks up, and the mast starts falling. Everyone make a dodge check. David, since you're prone, you have a -4 penalty. As a side note, Darfilians have a racial -2 to dexterity already, which is needed for a dodge check. In his base stats, he focused on 3 stats like all good D&D players. However, he chose Strength, Constitution, and Charisma, so he could lie and seduce all sort of hot chicks, and his character might come across. His Dexterity is at a 7. He never bothered to level it up. That's another -2, bringing his roll of 10 to a 2. So of course he fails, and gets the full weight of the mast dropped on him, causing instant death for real this time. The weight mixed with the velocity did something like 150 damage to the boat, and any goo bag shit enough not to jump out of line of the mast. His character wouldn't even count as goo, more like splatters on the feet and pants of whoever jumped away from the mast this time. Well, that isn't fair! Yes, it is. You rolled, and you failed. Fuck you, you're just out to get me! Dude, you fucked up a roll. It isn't a big deal. Just make a new character, and we'll add you back to the game, and go fuck yourself! And he proceeds to rip up his character sheet and storm off. Since that day, he has refused to play with the cheating fuck DM. Side note, we decided to hold a funeral for the character and tossed his 3 toes from his right foot into the sea. That was the biggest piece we could find of his character after the fucking wreck. Valentine's Day. Like most neckbeards, David was terrible with women. He stared way too long, talked at rather than with, and always treated them like a different species rather than just another human. By the time I left the college, he was going full-on nice guy. However, the cringe the cringiest incident I saw with him was that first Valentine's Day. See, our group had 3 women, Jessie, Jennifer, and Christina. Nerdy as hell and fun to game with. David's weirdness hadn't changed around them for the entirety of the time that they were with us, but the rest of the guys kind of made a barrier to try and minimize everything. On Valentine's Day, David decided to go all out. He bought boxes of chocolates and roses, and when I say boxes, I mean huge Godiva Gold Collection style boxes. $50 boxes of chocolate for each woman in the group. To go further into the please stop territory, here's just how each interaction went down as Jessie, Jennifer, and Christina got to our table one by one over the course of 90 minutes. "I got you something," he would exclaim before rummaging within his bags below the table. "Okay," they would reply as they sit down. "Here!" He practically yeets a half-dozen roses and a box of chocolates in their face. "Happy Single Awareness Day!" Awkward silence as he stares. Thank you. For the roses and the chocolates. Yeah, for the roses and the chocolate. Because it's Singles Awareness Day. Yeah, that. And I'm single. Yeah, well, I'm gonna go to class. Each interaction was pretty much that verbatim. After Jennifer was the last woman to abruptly leave, it took David about 5 seconds before going into a piss boy nice guy sulk about how females just use men for their wallets. And I was so nice and generous they could have done something more than say thank you. Yeah, that was my cue to leave the table. I already missed a class to wait and watch all this shit unfold. I wasn't about to hear what he felt would be appropriate compensation for his generosity. Ugh, what a slimy guy. He sounds like a fucking creep. Holy shit, man. And you had to hang around this guy this whole time? I am very sorry that you had to put up with that. God damn. Well, that's enough for part 2. And there is still a bit more. So if you want to know more, please tune in for part 3, which will be uploaded whenever I feel like, because I don't have a schedule. Anyway, I love you all so very much. And if you love me, which I think you do, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Also, it fucks with YouTube, so you should do that too. Do it if you like me. Also do it if you have a vendetta against a large mega corporation. These are 2 good connections. Anyway, if you really want to help out, make sure you donate to Patreon or buy something from the merch store. There's new stuff in the merch store all the time. Like, all the time. I just find it. It happens. It's kind of weird. But buy it anyway, because it looks pretty cool. And if you have your own story you'd like to send me, send it to r/Moonhorse Stories. I check that every day, so I'll see it there. I love you all so very, very much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye!